Welcome to the Papa Rua Experiment. This is a 1 year weekly series where myself and Darragh go through all of the principles that Decibel has for music marketing. We're going to be sharing all of the details from Darragh's campaigns and deep dive into all of the principles. This is going to be a hell of a ride, so stay tuned. Click the link below to subscribe to get it in your inbox every single week. Don't miss an episode. This is going to be brilliant. Let's jump right into the first episode, Tone of Voice. So obviously you have been thinking about the tone of voice.
Yes.
And you read the kind of stuff I forwarded on to you.
Yeah.
So
a few times now. It's still getting in. It's still getting in.
What kind of things did you take from it? Was anything kind of sparking in your mind about why it might be a benefit to think about it?
Yes. When you sent it on to me and I read it the first time, I didn't reply to you for like a day because I actually felt guilty. I felt a whole host of like negative emotions, nothing to do with you, but only it was a self-realization that I was very like not only not interested in any of it, but actively tried to get it away, like actively tried to avoid that stuff up until this point. So I was like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. Like, I feel so guilty. And I actually was like, not afraid, it's silly to say, but like, I didn't want to get back to you because I knew I had nothing to say other than I feel like you're dope. Like, I feel like an idiot. So that was the first day.
What's the resistance to thinking about it? Do you know what I mean?
For me, 100%, it was coming up in an artistic institution, a creative educational institution, whereby, like I went to BIM, I studied songwriting, and I am grateful for every minute I spent there in terms of what it taught me and the people I met. I thought that it was like crass or distasteful to promote myself in some sort of highfalutin way. In this day and age, it's an old-fashioned view. I realized that it's like people are saying stuff and doing things every day in the internet that is designed like they're trying to cause conflict, or they're trying to cause upset, or they're trying to like. What I have to say and what I'm doing is I'm trying to make a good change in the world. I'm trying to improve people's lives. I'm trying to improve my own life through the music. So that's something I shouldn't be nervous. Like, I shouldn't feel crass. I shouldn't feel like I'm overstepping the mark, because like maybe there's some people out there that really want that in their lives. You know, when you look at tone and voice, as in, you can't just answer those questions on the spot. You have to kind of look into yourself, and like you have to ask serious questions of the work that you're doing. Like, every time I got faced with questions like those, I just shrunk, because I was like, I knew that I never really had taken myself as seriously to believe that I would succeed. Number one, I didn't take myself seriously. I never had to ask myself those questions. And therefore, when I was faced with those, I was just washed over with all the times I'd ignored these questions and kind of said, screw that. I just want to write songs. I'm an art. Like I don't do that. I do this. And I got, like, that was the first thing. I got like washed over with that. That came from, number two, I think that came from being in like a hyper artistic peer group. You're in this bubble and everything's distorted from reality. Like,
You're just there for the music. You're just not there for kind of trying to make anything.
it's very insular. It's very insular. Like, as in, it's very difficult to get a real view of who an audience is, because, like, because bands or acts could become popular within the structure itself. Afterwards, when I would see like, oh, I wanted to get 10,000 streams on Not My Name in the first 6 months, and I didn't. But I was like, because I didn't market it. Like, I didn't market it every day for X amount of weeks and then analyze like the results. And it was 2 weeks before I was going to release Lorna's song, you had sent me that sheet about the marketing. And then my brother and his girlfriend, who they both have business degrees. Again, I think why it clicked with me is because I had three really kind of educated people in terms of business and communication. nothing to do with music. They're like, what the hell are you doing? Like, are you honestly, seriously telling us you're trying to launch your original music career and you're not marketing yourself and you're not doing that? Like, because look at influencers or look at a YouTuber and what is it about them that you don't like? And I said, they're too out there, like they're too like in their face, they're trying to shove it down their throat. The kind of resounding answer from the people that I trust was like, well, what options do you have? Is it up to you? Do you get to decide if you're serious? If you actually want to do it, what leads the way? Is it your ego or is it your hunger? And in college and stuff like that, I had too much time to think, I would say, about highfalutin views of who I am and the music that I make and that it's high art and that like, I don't give a shit what anyone says, whether they think I'm authentic or not, because I know I get up every day and I do X, Y, and Z, and I, um, that's enough for me. Is that pursuit of undeniability? That's what levels out me being comfortable with marketing exactly who I am and what I do. It's
Yeah.
because like I don't care what anyone says. When I'm marketing that message, I need to have the zest or the enthusiasm, and like if I'm saying that that's what's in my music, that I want to improve people's lives or improve my own life or help you deal with your shit or whatever it is, you can cry with your head in your steering wheel listening to my songs. You can. Like, the voice is always, whether it's in the video looking into the camera, like the voice is me speaking to you. Like it's and the tone is like,
The word think you're looking for is kind of direct.
yeah, like you, like another thing that I got a lot of feedback on this actually. I've been asking people, when you hear my songs, the first thing you hear, like, tell me the first thing when you hear a Papa Rua song. And they're like, your voice is unmistakable. You can't hide your voice. Like, you will never be able to do that.
Hmm.
So I think that's another thing, a directness, and that regardless of whether you like me or not, whether you like what I do, it's like it will leave a taste in your mouth. It will. If you meet me, you might hate me, you might love me, but you won't forget me. It definitely would.
So
Um,
how do you think that the thinking about the tone of voice has influenced kind of how you might move forward?
Knowing about the tone really stripped away the infinite possibilities that I used to sit with before. Before I knew about it, I would sit here and say, well, there's a whole host of things I could say. It's almost like when you have no boundaries, it's difficult to say to finish a song. Even it's
Yeah.
difficult to finish a song if everything is a virtual instrument. I find it really hard. Like, as in, like I could look around, even in my studio, I have like just little analog. They're really cheap. Like, but they give me restrictions, and that makes things get finished a lot faster. Like, and I don't mean about like I'm not giving them the time that they need, but it means like if you're forced into a decision that you can't really go back on, and that kind of makes life easy then. In, and so that's what the tone helped me with. It made life a little bit easier in terms of there was less decisions for me to make in terms of the format, in terms of who I'm trying to reach, and I think they're just good things for a creative person. It's like a funnel where you have all these ideas here. It's like most of them are semi-valid, but maybe too vague. You put them in, you're like, okay, who am I trying to hit here? What am I trying to get them to do? And like, what? Actually, yeah, who's the audience, and what's the action I want them to take? And then you kind of prioritize the personality types in order of what you want.
So Darragh is actually talking here about something that is included in the free email course, Social Media Mastery. This is actually understanding the personality types that you will be talking to and how to actually effectively communicate with them. So if you want to know more about that, you can click the link below to actually get yourself subscribed onto that. And that video will be coming soon, which I'll actually put here or here, wherever it's going to be. So look out for that too.
So for me, where it was, I want people to pre-save, and then when it was out, I want people to actually no, regardless of when it was out or when it was coming out, it was the same link. I was trying to get people onto the link, so it was kind of like logical, harmonizing, and then either the rebel or the comedy at the end. Like, watch this space. There's something coming next week, or what was the other one? Oh yeah, like about the 5 minutes and 22 seconds.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, like, what would you say to someone who would say this is a load of horseshit? I don't want to do it. If you know what I mean.
I would say to someone who says this is a load of horseshit, it's difficult not to have a smart answer to that.
Go on,
I would, yeah, like I would say, if people are saying it's a load of horseshit, the question I would have would be like, okay, well, how much material do you have ready to go to master? The reason why I'd ask that question is because, like, well, then, if you think this is horseshit, let's listen to your tunes and decide what it is. Because I would say someone who's saying it's horseshit doesn't have anything that's ready to go to master.
Okay. So you'd recommend it then?
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point, I don't need to go into numbers, but like the marketing element of what I'm doing, I should have spent so much more money on it. But educating myself is the next best thing I can do.